Okay. I'm sorry, it's an error screen that popped up. Anyway, making the best out of a situation that's less than ideal. You can still be happy without money because it's supposed to be about life, it's supposed to be experiencing. I don't think that you should date single mothers unless you have a kid. Y'all are right. You're not going to get it. You're not going to understand. Single dads, though, get so much help from the community because everybody's just so shocked that a guy is willing to even show up and talk to his kids. And this is coming from us as black people. I'm not talking about the media. I'm talking about what I hear when I talk to black people. If the media just, came up with that, then it means that we bought into it and we're acting on it. So, in my opinion, it's the same. I feel like that's denouncing the men. I feel like that means that, oh, we don't expect anything out of you. Oh, well, at least you're doing this. This is the best we could hope for. I feel like when you guys give men, single dads, props for the smallest thing, that you reduce them and say, it's offensive in my opinion, but I'm not a man, so I don't know. But it sounds offensive when I listen to it because it's just kind of, it sounds like, oh, well, you weren't going to raise your kids, so I'm glad you showed up for the birthday party. That's the best we can hope for. You know, we don't expect nothing else out of you. And to me, I feel like that's reducing black dads. For, that's just my opinion. I expect a whole lot out of black dads because I feel like they would be happy if there was some, like, either a daughter that looked up to them and loved them so much, or either a son that loved them so much and wanted to emulate you. It's your, your junior, your mini you. I'm not saying that I think that you guys should pick up the slack, but cleaning up your community doesn't mean you have to date the single moms. You could just talk to the kids. What do you think it does to a kid when you make them have to hate their parents because of a choice? Because you want to feel better. Let's just be real. I'm a person with a degree, right? I'm a woman with a degree. Men with degrees. I know exactly how y'all feel and how y'all think. I care. I get it. I know that it's you. It was a sacrifice. All of the times that you could have just been hanging out, getting women, all of this, you chose to do something that could help the community, and that's your role in our community. They chose to do something different so they can do the other stuff. Y'all are appreciated. You are. I completely understand what you had to go through to get that degree. And I understand why you're angry at men who feel like they can just get whatever they want without one. What I'm saying is that we need both. I don't think that people should place such high regard on either one of them right now for our specific position because anything could happen. If we get to a place where black people are the majority and we make the rules, then we can start dividing people up like that. But right now, we have to let the ones that got the degree do the stuff for that, and then the ones that didn't, let us know what the bad side is, what you had to endure, because that's what they did. They had to go through the suffering and the pain so that they can come back and tell us if they survived, so they can come back and tell us what happened. We do need that. I don't wish like jail and prison on anybody. I've seen enough people being locked up and I can't handle it. But we need both. They were in the trenches. They can tell us the down and dirty of what's going on and how the thoughts that people say when they think that you have no rights and no one will listen to you. We need to know those things. Just like we need to know what's in the colleges. The back and forth arguing and everything, I completely understand why it's going on. I'm not catastrophizing. I don't think you guys are going to shoot each other, but what I'm saying is we need both. When I said that neither side is better, I meant neither side is better. We need both. So I think that there can be common ground. I think that they can respect each other. but understanding where the other person came from, understanding what they had to go through. It's not always excuses, but even if it is, let's say that it's an excuse, what difference does the word make? They still went through whatever it is that stopped them from doing whatever they were supposed to do. So if it's either an excuse or if it's a valid reason, the result is the same. They went through the process. If it's an excuse, oh well, I couldn't do this and I had to do all of that and I didn't have a choice, nobody saved me from having a background, right? That might be true, it might not be. But the point is that they said it because they believed it. Did somebody offer them a chance and they either didn't notice or shunned it? Probably. Maybe. I hope so. But for some people they didn't, and some people it did. So they believe it. They believe that they didn't have any choice, which means if anybody offered anything, something about it said that this isn't something that I can do. This isn't something that's real. Whatever. The point is they're telling you their thoughts. They're telling you what they believe. And if they're lying, the punishment is the lie. Because if I act on your lies, then you don't get what actually happened, and you're going to be stuck trapped in getting something that you don't have a need for, something that you can't use. So it would be nice if everybody was very honest, but it's hard to do. And why is it hard to do? Is because of the reception that we get. I don't actually have a background like in the legal system, but growing up, I was hit by the same stereotype, is that that's where I'm going to end up. That's the best I can do. And life has definitely tested me to see if I would be willing to shoot people. And it is touch and go every day. I try not to. I'm not sorry. I'm not ashamed of that. I feel that that's what's necessary, because the thing that hurts me the most is when it comes from black people or the people closest to me. So the thing is, I know that I narrowly escaped. I know that circumstance could lead me to that position anyway, and so that's why I don't judge people. I do have a degree, and I would like to use it for the greater good for my community, but my words are invalidated because I have it to the very people that I think could be helpful. How many people where I grew up got a scholarship? Me, one that I know of. So if I go get the information and the knowledge and I come back with it, it's just like we all got the scholarship, is how I thought. But apparently that's naive and counterproductive, enabling. It's so much negative and wrong with that. As a kid, I had to listen to adults say who they thought would be worthy and who they thought wouldn't be. And they cast some kids aside. And those kids, some of them may not have survived, some of them might have, and just don't have anything good going in their lives. And it's just, that's part of the problem, in my opinion. I'm not part of the culture that says a participation trophy, everybody gets one, because if you don't ever fail, you won't know to give up that dream and pick something else that you might actually be good at. Let another person who's good at that have that spot. The problem is what we say to one another when we're angry. We throw up things in people's faces, and what does that ever get anybody? Do you feel better after that? If I borrow money from somebody and they decide that they want to call me out of my name, do you think they're getting that money back? No, your reward for giving me the money was being able to talk crazy about me to other people. I'm not paying you. You're not going to get paid double. That's ridiculous. So am I saying that y'all have to not care if somebody takes money and doesn't pay it back? No. If they lied, the punishment is the lie. Finding out that they lied means you can't get anything else out of me ever. And now you have to go out there and figure out who else you can finesse when you need something next time. Because then I get to move on with my life and I don't have to be bothered with it. I do think that there is a compromise available, but I feel like people aren't there yet to listen. I understand that. Okay, fine. But in the meantime, if I'm talking to you guys about like helping the kids of single mothers, that's all of our future. I'm not telling you you have to do it for free. the government, another person was saying that how you get grants, which is what I was gonna type that, but that person got to it first. You get grants to do it. Y'all are talking about reparations right now, right? Okay, so how about if we get first choice for grants? And what I mean by that is everything that you guys see that's wrong in the community, we could set up something to curtail that. Basically, the government, the United States, the way it is, if we're blaming them for the things that we specifically and subjectively don't like in our community, because we could just accept it and say, hey, this is what we do, stay out of it, we'll be okay, as long as we're not hurting one another. I would go along with that. But since we're not, if you want to change something, the best way to do that, if we feel that this is left over from slavery, then ask the government to give us grants for us to put things together so that our future generations don't have to suffer. Like, the casinos that the Native Americans got. We're going to get HBCUs. But, or something like that. I'm not telling you to work for anything for free. No one should work for free. I wouldn't work for free. In the past, there used to be people that would just give back because they understood that our kids are going to be the ones making decisions soon. And as when we're old and we can't do anything and they're in charge, do we want them still angry at us? Or do we want them to understand that we did something to put them in a position to be able to care for us? As an adult, your job is to have life insurance, is to have retirement funds so that your kids don't have to pay you. So that your kids don't have to pay for your bills when you get older. That's what we owe to our kids, is to be self-sufficient. With physical help, like, people helping you to do daily activities that you can pay for. Because your kids are supposed to be busy doing something for their kids and for your grandkids and future generations. And if they can show up and help out, then cool, why not? But all of the time, if they can't, you should have something available in reserve. But that's another story. The point is, with all of this talk this week, I hope it doesn't come off that I think that you're supposed to be rewarding bad behavior, because you're right. You should not reward bad behavior. At some point, the woman is going to have to say, I don't want this life anymore. I didn't have to say that because the single mom life was chosen for me. I handled it. I do what I'm supposed to do. But it had a cost. I've never asked anybody to bankroll anything. Men show up and they do it anyway. The reason I say that is because I don't want those men to feel played. I don't want them to feel disrespected or used, because that was not, I didn't do any of those things. I was grateful and appreciative because the father flaked out and you stepped up and you came to the plate. Now, as long as you're doing something and you're fulfilling that duty, you're going to get all those rewards. You'll get Father's Day presents. You'll get recognition. Any kid that I raise, but their fathers are still in their lives, so that wouldn't be an issue for me. My kids would be able to praise their father first and then any stepfather that I bring home, because they are doing what they're supposed to do now. We, of course, had to go through the arguments, which is why we broke up, but they're doing what they're supposed to do now for the kids, and that's what's supposed to happen. So there are some men who just can't. I'm not even talking, like, I don't want you guys to buy into the myth that men just don't care, they can't bond with their kids. For some men, it's hard. They can't bond with their kids because it's too much in a way. They've been hurt. They've been damaged. They haven't been told how. And some men are afraid that they're going to mess up. There's lots of different reasons why men aren't there for their kids. And with that being said, if somebody steps in, that needs to be appreciative because that needs to be appreciated because they're helping with something that benefits us all. I'm not telling you guys that you have to go out and get the first single mother you see. But what I am saying is childless black women is a rarity. So, that's probably going to the men with the most money. So for you regular 9-to-5 working, okay, anyway, the point is, everybody deserves some respect. Grown people make grown choices. They might be close to the situation and they know why they made that choice. Nobody wants to be talked down to or condescended on. Are there some choices that need to not happen and we're supposed to intervene? Absolutely, yes. But the problem is how you can't convince anybody if you don't have any proof. If you don't have anything that says, like, what's the logical reasoning? You have to explain that to this person and calmly, because who's gonna, if somebody's yelling at me, if somebody's calling me names, I feel that at that moment they do not like me, so they're not giving me advice that's for my best interest. Is that true? I don't know. But the point is, that's the emotional reaction that we have. That's why you get the pushback. Talk to people with respect. Who's gonna sit there listening to that? Would you? Would you listen to that? Oh, but no, because you did what you were supposed to do, right? Okay, in one area, but in other areas you may not. We all have to do this all together, and once, if and when black people are the majority making rules, I will fully support y'all's decision to say nope, let's cast aside the people that aren't doing what we were supposed to do. You know why everybody, the derelicts and the rejects from other cultures find their way to black society? Yes, we accept anything, we let anybody over here, but also because they can't go anywhere else. This is rock bottom. So when we're on top, then we can shun out people. Right now, we can't. We can't do it. What do you? The same way, men have struggles. Women might have become single mothers because of struggle. That's not the best ideal. It's not the best goal, but the government is bankrolling it, and that's who's responsible. Whatever the mental thing is, or the accident, or the argument, whatever happened to make someone a single parent, single mom, or single dad, it was something in their environment or something in society that they wake up to every day that told them to throw caution to the wind. How else do you explain seeing people who are single parents struggle and still engage in something that could make you a single parent? Do you know that there are some men that won't accept no? I'm not talking about rapists. I mean the men that will make your life a living hell until you tell them yes. That is a problem. So should the mom talk to the dad and make him involved? Yes. If he says no, what are we going to do about it? If he decides as a man that he doesn't want to do it, other men could try to talk to him, but as a man, he's not going to want to listen. So it's not always about the women. If y'all don't like a gynocracy, then the women's advice wouldn't matter. The women's opinions wouldn't matter. Who the women chose? The women choose? Oh. I am not in favor of all of that, of the gynocracy, and the reason is because women should be busy. You should be busy making life. You should be busy raising and nurturing life. That is a hard job. It's a lot. You don't have time to do otherwise. But the ones that do make a way out of no way, that's amazing. But it shouldn't happen. So I'm not asking y'all to be used. If I'm telling you that, like, is there anything wrong with dating single moms? Yes. It's inconvenient if you don't have any kids. But then you also have to say, because you know what? A lot of you guys are losing out on childless women to men who have babies already. What are you going to do to stop that? There's a whole lot of factors that play into this that we have to stop all of them before we can see any progress. I completely hear both sides. I understand what you're saying. But what I'm telling both sides is that we have to find a compromise real quick so that we can get through this. And eventually, it won't even be a problem anymore. In a couple of generations, if we do what we're supposed to do, if we get this answer right, it won't be a problem anymore. Y'all won't have to argue about this anymore. Do I think it's such a big deal? And do I think that you guys are like, just overly angry about it? No, I think it's a discussion. And this is part of that discussion. So my vote would be that single moms and single dads can raise kids together because they both understand each other. The childless ones should date childless men. And the reason is so that y'all can start a family. What? I don't That's the answer that I have. I don't want to tell people who they can fall in love with, but we're operating right now as if we think that that shouldn't happen. So if you, as a childless person, fall in love with a single parent, you can. You, in my opinion, my one person opinion, it could work as long as both people are respectful and as long as no one's doing anything overly cruel. The problem is when you get single childless women and they marry a guy with a baby, there is the tendency for her to mistreat that baby because they feel like he should have waited. That's crazy. And the same, vice versa for men. They feel that if they date a single mom, that they can just do whatever. And they got a lot more time on their hands. And everything should be a favor. And it's not. We have a lot of damaged women in our society. That happens because single mothers are shunned. And then the guy that takes a chance on you is usually has a negative and horrible ulterior motive. I'm not saying all. So the problem is that now your sons are going to have women that are damaged too. If we as the adults can't fix it, then we can't complain and whine about what the kids are doing. They're doing that because that's what we're showing them is okay. Every time somebody says, well, you have to not hold out on dates with people, and I'm not critiquing them. What I'm saying is, every time you say that, the kids hear it in their teenager voice, and then they go out and do the stuff that we complain about. Should they do everything that they see? No. Absolutely not. But somebody should be close enough to them to stop them and stop the other person that's willing to do it with them. They are in fact kids and we're the adults. So I'm not saying that it's okay. I'm just saying that that's how it happens. I don't want anybody that dates a single mom to feel played. And if there are single moms that are thinking that they're finessing somebody, or they think that that is something that makes them cute, or that they did something big, that is also a cancer in our society and it needs to go. So I wouldn't just get on the man, I would get on the woman as well. I understand where both sides are coming from, but you're supposed to be doing things that place priorities in the correct order. The reason why I've been saying as of late that men should not date single moms is because they need to focus. They need to make sure that what they're saying to their kids is not bitter. They need to pay attention. They need to be being responsible for kids. Whether they wanted the kid or not, it doesn't matter. The kid's here. The kid is a responsibility. Parenting is a job. So however you got in that situation, there is still a kid there that needs you. Both the mom and the dad. Just like childless men. However the single mom got in that situation, they get to, because it does impact what they're allowed to do. They haven't had kids. They're able to want something that doesn't have to be stopped by having children. And when and if they get there, I would hope that they don't have to do the same leaving act to try to get your head together. Because why do, what I was told is that black men feel like they're not prepared when a woman gets pregnant, so they got to go off and do all this stuff. Why do y'all think that y'all not prepared? Why do you think that y'all wouldn't be such a good dad? That's the conversation I think we need to have. What causes the running initially? And no answers that involve the woman. And in terms of the women, what do you do in the meantime until he decides to get it together and take care of the kid? Would you want to be in a relationship with somebody like that? What he does for the kids and what he does for the mom is separate. You guys didn't make it, but okay. And as long as all the adults in the situation treat each other like, other adults, then we wouldn't have all of these beefs and these gripes. It's the looking down on people. When we get hurt, we look down on somebody else to make ourselves feel better. We all do it, but the point is it shouldn't happen anymore. I'm only speaking of ideals. I'm speaking of what we should strive for, what shouldn't happen, because that is what the result is. The good have to suffer for the bad, which means when there are single moms that do dumb stuff, we all have to suffer. I wonder what causes a person to be so cold to where they don't care who they step on to get what they want. But the answer to that usually has to do with the previous generation. Our previous generation was the baby boomers, and they are so spoiled because everybody was so excited to have kids because they were coming back from war. So kids were a blessing. Everybody was happy. They were, euphoric. Hardly said no to the kids. They are so spoiled. If you ever talk to one of them, we shouldn't do the same. We shouldn't be spoiled. If we know that our parents were spoiled, then we should be doing a lot more to take care of our kids. So that's why I get irritated, is because I'm not hearing what the solutions are. And I have some solutions, but I would need to know if it will work or if this is something that people will be open to. But people can't even have that conversation. And I feel like the single people would be able to do it. The fact that I am not in a relationship means that I have time to do it. People who are in relationships have to think about the other person. So I think we need to stop shunning one another for the stuff and realize that it's life circumstance. Even if it was that person's fault, they could change. Eventually, they could stop doing that behavior. There are some people that are too far gone, but they're still our responsibility. You just don't have to do everything. You can do the things that they need. We don't trust one another. We're not really. Wait. I'm trying to make my eyes not look this low, but I'm looking down at the camera. So, anyway, we don't trust each other, and that's a problem. Either we should be more trustworthy to each other so that we can trust each other, so that we can help one another out in a bind. That's what our thought process should be on. And so I wasn't trying to infer that anybody has to do anything as an adult. But what I'm saying is there are certain things that can help us right now. And, we have to commit to doing them. So, if anybody has any alternative solutions, we need to just start thinking about those right now. Bye.